right, so it's May, and it's the start of deer hunting season for us. For most of us deer hunters, as soon as the snow is gone, we start our deer season. And that means we go back out into our hunting grounds and we look for sign that we might have missed. Looking for antler sheds, looking for old scrapes and rubs, and we also start our mineral stations. This week we check out Cody Hunter, a pro staffer from the west end of Manitoulin, and his girlfriend Kaylee as they try for her first whitetail deer. We also see what Stacey Rayner is up to as he sneaks away on a couple of hunts while his cutie pie of a daughter takes her naps. As usual, the West Enders of Manitoulin get it done. Stay tuned, you're watching Fuel the Fire TV. Life offers no guarantees, but the one thing we've learned for sure is that the time we have is indeed precious. The more time we spend with family, friends, and with nature can make the difference between living a good life and living a great one. Join us on our quest to be participants rather than observers, to learn from our mistakes, to share our successes and our failures as we spend all of the time we have chasing our dreams, fueling our passion, and fueling the fire in the great outdoors. Closed captioning is brought to you by letsrolloutals.ca. Welcome to the program. This week we get to check out pro staff Cody and Stacey as they chase whitetail deer on Manitoulin. Now we call them our West Enders, and that's because they primarily do all of their hunting where they live, the west end of Manitoulin Island. These two are always on the lookout for deer sign in the spring, summer, fall, and winter, and they've been pretty successful in their efforts to date. Last year, Cody took a real decent 8-pointer at the very end of bow season, and Stacey took his best deer to date with his compound bow. In 2019, they're at it again, and wouldn't you know it, one summer afternoon, Stacey spots his target buck right in his backyard. Man, I love seeing those big bucks in velvet.
It's August 19th. I was just sitting in the house and I looked out the window and I think I found my target buck for the year. Nice big mainframe 8, and well, hopefully sticks around for a few months and get a better look at him. Today's October 5th. We're 5 days into the Ontario archery season. This is my first sit out. I just got in the blind now, all set up. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got a camera set up here. I've had some pretty decent bucks. There's 2 of them. There's one big mainframe 8 with a split brow tie, and I really want to get a look at. And well, I'm going to hang out here till dark and hopefully get a look. We got a deer coming in. The one big mainframe mate with split brow tine that I was really hoping to get a look at, he showed up tonight. Had him at 20 yards and he was there for about 20 minutes. And I mean, this deer is nice for around here, and I was waiting and waiting, but he never did give me the perfect shot opportunity. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a guy that gets buck fever. I start shaking and I can't control myself. As I'm watching it, the other 9-point, that's also a great deer, stepped out right behind him, and they were both feeding in front of me 20 yards. After the 8-point took off, the 9-point stuck around. Obviously, you seen the video, and I could have probably got a chance at him. He did stand broadside there for a little while, but there's just something about that big mainframe 8 that I really want. That 9-point though, he's a great deer nonetheless. I'd be happy to take him, but on the first sit of the year, I couldn't do it. I may regret it, but let's hope not. Stay tuned.
This segment was brought to you by Antler Obsession Trophy Mineral Mix.
Do-it-yourself bow hunting, it's your first sit, your number 1 buck pops out, and is followed by your number 2. It's a tough call. I'm sure it's a problem we'd all like to have. Maybe talk yourself through that option before your hunt, because that 9-pointer was a great buck. That's what we get for scouting. Putting out our cameras early and setting up mineral stations like the one we're going to put out with Antler Obsession is good for our herd. It does a number of things. It brings deer into the camera so we can see what we have for next season. It helps with antler formation for our bucks, and it also gives a boost to our does after they have their fawns and they're lactating. All of those minerals and nutrients are vital after a hard winter. Let's check out how the rest of Stacey's season panned out.
It's Friday, November 15th today. Our week-long rifle season opens up Monday, so I got 3 days here to get it done. I'm in a new location. The big 8 with the double, or with the split brow tine, he's been coming in here in the evenings to late at night, but it looks like he's starting to chase the does around, so. I don't know what that was about. They were acting like they could smell me, but the wind's blowing about 40 kilometers an hour right in my face. It's gotta be swirling in here, but hopefully that doesn't happen again tonight. It's Thursday, which is the 4th day into our week-long muzzleloader hunt here on Manitoulin Island. Sat for a few hours this morning, but nothing was moving. All I seen was a partridge and a few blue jays, and that was it. The rut's over here, so the buck should be up feeding, trying to get that fat put back on that they burnt off chasing does during the rut. So I'm gonna sit here and wait, and hopefully something comes out. Got a deer coming in here now. Well, it's not really the quality deer we're after, but it's a good sign. So hopefully you keep a couple does coming in later this afternoon, and something bigger will follow them in. I'm sitting on the fence about shooting a doe or not, because this past winter we took a toll on our deer herd. We had records amounts of snow, and then we got hit with a couple goes of freezing rain, and it created a layer of crust on top, and the deer virtually couldn't get anywhere. They were just pounding through it where the coyotes could stay right up on top, and deer just made an easy prey for them and limited food. Myself, I was out a few times over the winter cutting down some cedar branches, cedar trees, just trying to give the deer something to feed on, because they were starving is what it was. Shooting a doe, it's kind of if I want to do it or not, but when it comes down to it, it's meat in the freezer, and they cut back the number of tags handed out in this area this year to accommodate the harsh winter we had, and I guess we can just hope we don't have another one this year, and hopefully the deer numbers come back up. Well, here we are with my 2019 muzzleloader buck. It's not the big buck I was after all fall, but it is a nice deer. I'd seen this deer on camera a few times and I was contemplating if I'd take him or not if I had the chance, but he gave me the opportunity tonight and I'm down to the wire, so I took the chance while I had it. Couldn't be happier. It's meat in the freezer for another year. Get them all cleaned up and ready to be processed. Just like Rhett Daniels says, it's all over but the grilling. To fuel your passion, fuel your fire, you got to get outdoors.
Covered in deer from bow season all the way through to the end of muzzleloader. Not only did you get a freezer full of meat, you got a great rack for the wall and a ton of memories.
This segment of Fuel the Fire TV was brought to you by Indigenous Tourism Ontario. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Fuel the Fire TV. In this week's Manitoulin Monster segment, we're featuring a deer shot by one of our pro staff, none other than Warren Corbier. There are several impressive features with this deer. The first one that it jumps out at me is the length of the main beam. They're 24 inches and they almost come to a complete touch, give or take 4 inches. Another cool thing about this rack is the G3s are about 9 inches long with 7-inch G4s. Now remember, to get a deer to score in the 150s, it almost has to be a 10-pointer or a fantastic 8, because this deer carries 4.5 all the way through, and this last circumference measurement is important because it adds that 10 inches on the back end. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can see this hunt in its entirety. It's impressive because Warren actually has to move the camera after he takes that safety off because the deer walks out of the frame. He does a great job, he keeps his composure, and he's got his Manitoulin monster for the wall. Now, if you've been on Manitoulin Island and you've harvested a trophy buck, reach out to us on social media, and you never know, the next time you come, you might just find yourself on a Manitoulin Monster segment. Next up, we've got Cody and Kaylee from the West End. This past fall, Cody got to spend some time with his brother Dylan out west as they chased elk and moose. Now, Dylan has been killing it as of late out there and harvested some great animals, and good on him for doing that. Cody and Dylan were hunting moose and they got incredibly close to harvesting one with a bow. Ooh. 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 Now, I'm pretty sure that bull would qualify as a trophy bull, and I definitely can feel your pain by having that archery moose monkey still on my back. Cody didn't waste any time when he got back to Manitoulin Island. He and Kaylee got into the stand as she's chasing her first whitetail ever, and she's using a crossbow.
Tonight's the first night we've been out. We were out here last night in the road, just scouting around, and we seen a pretty nice buck. He was directly under our stand pretty well last night, so hopefully he shows up.
as you guys seen, we had that 10-point come out right under us. He was only 20 yards, but he just wouldn't come out in the field far enough to clear the branches to get a shot, which was too bad because that was Kaylee's first time out bow hunting for deer. So yeah, it would have been really good if she got her first deer first night out. She just got her license this past winter, and the only other thing she's ever hunted for was this past spring. We went turkey hunting, and her second day out she got one, so that was pretty good. But yeah, we got a couple months of bow season here to go, so I'm sure that she'll get another opportunity.
This segment was brought to you by Wayne Azopardi's Wildlife Artistry Custom Taxidermy. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. This segment of Fuel the Fire TV was brought to you by Manitoulin Chrysler.
Me and Kaylee are back out in the stand again tonight. It's a little breezy right now. We've been out, I think this is our 10th time out this season. We've seen quite a few deer, but never had any in close enough. For the ones that we did have close enough weren't very good shots. There's branches in the way and stuff like that, but hopefully tonight's the night. That's perfect right there. That's where I'd want to shoot. Just aim about not quite halfway back. That's 40 yards, remember. Okay, whenever you're ready, go ahead. You're good there, go ahead. Oh, you cranked on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you smoked them. Are you happy?
My heart hurts.
How's your heart?
It's racing.
Yeah. Well, I think you got your first buck and you look like a pretty nice one.
Oh my god.
My heart's even pumping too.
I can't believe it came out.
Yeah. Spent quite a bit of time, eh?
We've been waiting and haven't been in the field tonight, and then all of a sudden, there it was.
Yeah. Well, we'll give him an hour or so, and before we go look for him, we'll re-look at the footage here, but I'm pretty sure it was a good shot from what I've seen. It's about midnight here. We just got back in the truck from looking for that deer. From where she hit it to where it headed, it bled really good, just pouring blood out of it, but we eventually lost the track, so we're gonna leave it to the morning and come back and have another look. We reviewed the footage there, and it looks like a really good shot, so I'm pretty confident it's dead. We just got to get back in his track again and hopefully find it in the morning. Alrighty folks, here we are. Kaylee just got home from work. I found her buck today. It didn't go too much further from where we left it last night, probably only 50 yards. I got on some more blood and he was right there, so that was good. Got him drug out, had some help from a friend. This is Kaylee's first deer, and with the bow at that, so that's pretty good. He's a nice sized buck.
Yeah, I was pretty discouraged last night when we couldn't find him. It was kind of upsetting, but then luckily Cody pulled through this morning and found him.
Yeah,
So
a good tracker such as myself.
yeah, pretty exciting.
Yeah, we spent quite a bit of time out. This is probably our 10th hunt this year. We've had a few other bucks that were pretty close that just couldn't get a good shot on them. They were in the brush or just wouldn't come out in the field, so it's good. It's my turn now, so hopefully you get a bigger one. Feel your passion, feel your fire, and get outdoors.
Well, that brings this week's episode to a close, and the West Enders get it done on Manitoulin once again. Congratulations going out to Stacey and Kaylee, especially on her first deer. You guys showed a ton of patience, and 9 times out of 10, that pays off. If you haven't already subscribed to us on our YouTube channel, do that. You can check out all of our past hunts. We also have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Join us next week as we head out on a fishing adventure into Point Grundine Park. Until then, remember to fuel your passion, fuel the fire, and get outdoors.